Hi guys, and welcome back. We're back with another sit-down video, and we're going to talk about what we did during the summer as kids.
Yes. Some of these things might be kind of funny, so we'll see what we get into today with this chat first topic.
Yep. Let's dive into it then. Hi guys, like we said, we're going to talk about things we did in the summertime as kids, different stories, different like games, what you do with your friends or like your siblings, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So,
and this is going to be stuff that was like late 90s, early 2000s type stuff.
when kids played outside.
Yeah, so you're going to see a pattern here where it's not going to be us playing video games.
Nope.
So that in itself is going to be a little bit of a shocker for some people because everyone just wants to stay inside and play video games or just watch TV or be on their phones. So you're not going to hear any of that stuff. It's literally everything outside, and a lot of times there's literally zero technology that's involved.
Well, yeah, we didn't have like cell phones and stuff like that back then.
There was walkie-talkies, like we talk about.
Yeah,
that type
I
of
do
stuff,
have
but
stuff that happened with walkie-talkies, but yeah, no, we used our imaginations. So, I don't know. Do you want to start off? Like, what is something you guys did?
So, I'm trying to think of which one I should talk about first, because there was a lot of stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot.
I guess I'll talk about the statues game. So, we did this thing where me and Julia would be in the front yard.
Okay.
And anytime a car would come by, we would have to hurry up and get into a pose.
Oh, yeah. I remember that kind of game.
Yeah, and so some of it started when we were having a bunch of pine trees cut down in our front yard. So there's almost like these little pedestals, even though like it was cut.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that was really the basis of it. But what you would do is a car would come in and run and freeze. But it needed to be sometimes the most ridiculous thing ever when we were doing this. So, like, no joke, it would be, oh no, someone's coming, hurry. So what would happen is people would grab some pine cones and, like, literally stoop to make it look like you were pooping. So we would take a pine cone and stick it right by our butt and be like, ah, like, make it look like we're taking a poop. And it was really just a pine cone there. Sometimes it'd be the most, like, absurd, like, ridiculous things just to see if we wanted to get also arousal of, are people going to be watching us when we do this?
Yeah, like honking.
Can we get their attention? No, or even like to be like, what the heck are these kids doing?
Yeah.
Because that's what it would be, a lot of things with the pine cones, being some like pointing at your butt, doing something like this.
Yeah.
Like that type of stuff. Because that was the whole point. Like you had to freeze like a statue, and it had to be something stupid and ridiculous, and see, well, can we get the attention out of people? Because then when we got that, we'd be like screaming and laughing and clapping like, yeah, they paid attention to us. So yeah, that was definitely one of the things we did a lot. And sometimes like you could just say like it was like so innocent though, but at the same time it was like ridiculous stuff.
Yeah,
like
it was,
with
like,
poop
random.
and pine cones.
Yeah, that is funny though, doing that, because nowadays you don't want to draw attention. Like some people do, but not everybody does. You don't want to draw attention to yourself, like where like people are like seeing you doing something embarrassing.
We would want people to see us on purpose.
But back when you were a kid, you wanted people seeing you doing embarrassing things. But now, like, forget it. Like, you didn't care if you fell in front of somebody when you were a kid.
Oh,
it wasn't a big
you
deal.
didn't care at all because little kids have this like
They don't think
they're
about it.
They're fearless, and they literally don't care what people think about them, but I think it's to the point that part hasn't developed yet in them.
Yeah,
that
to
they
be aware.
care, or they notice that people are judging them.
Yeah.
Or, like, they do things on purpose, like you said, like, to get people mad, to make people laugh, get their attention.
Yeah.
But then when you hit a certain age, it's all like, no, I don't want to do that type of stuff.
Like, get that camera out of my face or something like that kind of thing, yeah. Where it's just, because it's like now, like if somebody falls down, this is a tangent, but if somebody falls down, you get embarrassed because you're just like, oh my god, did somebody see me? Like, I had that instant just recently, and luckily nobody else was around. But
like, time in Michigan where everyone's running to you out the gift shop.
Yeah.
Are you okay?
And that makes
and
it worse because
it's sitting on the ground.
It makes it worse because you're just kind of like, okay, I fell, like whatever. But then it's just like people coming around. That's when then you're just like, you get nervous, you get embarrassed, and you don't want to get like emotional because then you're like thinking about it and you're just like, oh crap, a lot of people saw me just like dive out of this store. Like, yeah, that is true though, that little kids don't care. And they would like show each other, I got this Band-Aid for this. Yeah, like now it's like, no. Something we did, we would play Capture the Flag a lot.
Okay, we're getting the games.
Yeah, so we would, there's a lot of things that we would do, but like we would play like different games and stuff, but Capture the Flag was like a big one that we would do, and like the flag could be anything that we had. Like it could be a stick. It could be
yeah, anything that you could just put like wherever you guys. Where were you doing it at back here?
Yeah, we would do it back here. Sometimes we would play up front. And the thing too, like when we were kids, we would play in the street as kids.
Yeah, I remember
you always have a
that.
spotter. Somebody would just yell car, because you live in a neighborhood, so you're not like on a main road, so you kind of have like breaks in like traffic. But people do still drive crazy in things. But yeah, we would always have a spotter, and then everybody would just disperse. But yeah, so we would mainly play in the backyard though, Capture the Flag. So it would be like anything. We'd divide up on teams, like my friends against my brother's friends, or if it was like shared friends, we would just divide, and like you'd have a captain on each team and do kind of stuff like that.
I don't think we ever did Capture the Flag. Well, because the problem was we did not have a neighborhood group. So, and then if you had someone over, it was just one person over. So it wasn't, we never had enough people like that. You'd say like to do like kickball or play like softball or baseball in the backyard.
Yeah.
We tried. There was no way. You're like, yeah, we're going to throw and run. No, you're literally just running the base. It's just literally like
two people.
You just throw it, bat, you run around, and then you keep switching back and forth, and you're like, there's no team.
Yeah.
So what's the point? And then you just play a little bit, and they're like, screw this.
Exactly. Yeah. It is. Those kind of things are good when you have groups of people. And, like, you know, having a older or younger sibling, like their friends against your friends, or if it's like mutual friends, then you just kind of divide. Like I said, we just would like divide up and stuff like that. We would play all like manners of games. Like we would play tag. We would even, I think we played tug of war a couple times. We would play football, whatever, you know.
I really wish we could have experienced that, because I know my mom growing up did, where there were people down the street. You had her brother's friends come over, her friends, or a lot of times it was the neighborhood kids. You were just all friends with them. Like on our street, we didn't really have that. Like a
lot of kids around.
Yeah, it was the fact that our street was just set up where it was a lot of like senior citizens or like adults that didn't have kids. The people to the one side of us were all in high school, and they wanted nothing to do with us. They didn't even really want to babysit us. It was like they acted like they were too cool to be talking to like these like little kids. But in perspective, they're not that much older than us. Like growing up, you realize that they weren't that much older than us.
When you're a kid, it seems like such a broad span. But then when you're older, you're like, okay, you're like, what, like 5 years older than me? It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, because there would be times, I guess, with the girl next door, she would sometimes bring like some of her stuff when she was little, play on the driveway, or she would try to do our hair or stuff, but it wasn't ever like, it was just like a little bit of stuff, and it wasn't like really long lived type of a thing. The other people next to us, the other side, there was a time frame where we would play with like at least the one girl, but it was such big, like it turned into these troublemakers, and they were not good. And just say you get a white trash family. I don't care. Just say it. I can go on and on about different things. I just even saying people's names at the ridiculous crap we've had to deal with over the years with them. But we learned that it was probably, that was like first, second, third grade, and after that it was the cutoff. Like you didn't want to be associated with them.
Yeah.
It was a bunch of junk, but the kids didn't even live there. They were going to visit their grandparents.
Okay.
But yet they would still go to the same school system. It was like a whole weird. Stupid thing, because they lived somewhere else in the city.
Yeah.
But they would get dropped off with the bus stop, and it was just ugh.
Yeah.
But I really wish I could have experienced that though, where you had like a big group of kids hanging out. Oh, we're all going to this person's house or that person's house.
Yeah, our house was like the hub of like kids were always here. And, like, that's the thing, like, I have a brother, so, you would have girls and boys playing together and everything. So, like, of course, the boys want to be rough and rowdy. So then, like, we would still hold our own and play with them and stuff. So, you know. So.
There's no going back, but that's just how it was. I wish that's what it could have been. Because that's the thing, like, the schools that we went to growing up, everybody lived in developments and neighborhoods the way how the streets were set up, but just the street I was on, it's
just like a
street that there is offshoots, but there wasn't anybody. So.
Yeah. It's not, like, a lot of the times families with kids, they move into neighborhoods. Like, that's how a lot of it is. There's still some that are on, like,
There's pros and cons to neighborhoods, too.
Yeah.
I could say. That could be a whole other tangent I can go on.
Yeah, when you get the HOAs and all that crap. It's, But, no, we were, like we said, there's a lot of spending time outside. I mean, what's another thing that you guys did? Like.
So, we did not have a sidewalk on our side of the street. You had to cross the street to get to the sidewalk. So our driveway was like, you did everything on it. And the big, huge thing was, you took sidewalk chalk and you turned the whole driveway into a huge, huge road. Okay. So we would draw it so it would either be a single lane, and we legit drew the whole thing going around the whole loop, and maybe even having intersections and stuff because our driveway's pretty long. Or we would maybe even do it where we did a double side the street, because we would be taking our bikes through there, and then we had 2 of the Cozy Coupe cars. Okay, where you sit in there. This is not when Little Tikes or Fisher Price, whoever did it, not the ones with the stupid eyes. Now they redid them where they're narrow now, and they literally have eyes on them, and there's like a face on it.
No, I had the one that was like
it
was a yellow
and
top
red.
And the red bottom.
Yes,
yeah.
Because I even have a Hallmark ornament. Okay.
Yeah.
So you had those little cars. You go and you had the door. You had a horn,
and you had to be Fred Flintstone because you had to use your feet.
Those
to
were
move
the best.
Car.
So we would drive them around the street. Sometimes we would rotate to play like traffic stop.
Yeah.
We would also do our driveway was so big that we actually even did parking lots.
Kind of like what you would do in Safety Town.
Yes.
Okay.
So we had the whole street. We would have parking spots. We would say that these certain bushes were the grocery store. We would say these certain bushes were grocery store because there were these berries you could pick off of it. The hose was the gas station. So literally we would pull the Cozy Coupe up, and there's a little thing where you could pop open that was the gas cap. And instead of turning the hose on, there was enough pressure that when we push the hose thing back and forth, it would just like that, do that slowly, like shoot some of the extra water in there. And we would just keep driving around, and this would last forever. And it was to the point, like, our driveway was so long, it was when you're drawing with the chalk, it gets so short that you're like scraping your knuckles, because we also had an asphalt driveway with like that sometimes had like the pebbles coming up, so it wasn't like this very smooth surface, so you went through chalk very fast. And it was such a big huge road going around, but we did that for ever with that. And like I said, parking lots, we would designate this is a store, that's a store. This area could be like a house stop or this and that. We would try to do a bus sometimes where we would hook the wagon up to a bike or a Cozy Coupe car. And we would try to yank the person, like we would take socks or different stuff and try to tie it.
Pull it around.
Yeah, because we had the old-fashioned, the metal flyer wagon. That was my mom's growing up.
Was it red?
Yeah, but you had to be careful because the handle was metal.
Yeah.
And so we actually had to
even
have a
sitting
sock.
In the like thing.
Oh yeah, we had to have a beach towel in there. We had to have a sock, duct tape sometimes to it, because there were times if you go and go wham and it swings back, it's at the angle where someone's sitting there could just smack you in the head.
Yeah.
And so I think it was my mom's growing up, but it was in very good condition. We loved that thing because we even hooked it up to my dad's riding lawnmower. And in the fall, when he'd be mulching leaves, we would sit in there when he would be going mulching leaves, or just like a little tractor ride thing. We would even do it during the summer, or he would be riding that along, and we would like put sticks in there, and then we would drop it off in the fire pit if he was burning it at the same time.
Yeah.
So we had that wagon where we would try to do a bus thing.
Oh, the board.
because in our front yard there's like a little hill.
Yeah.
So what we would also do is after you get off the road, we would like say that it was a ride, like, oh, we're stopping off at like the kiddie park, and we would stop there, and you would get a running start, and you would run, jump in the wagon, you go down the hill, and you go boom, boom. It's like it's the metal. We would try to see how far back we would go.
And you wouldn't even like think about getting hurt in that thing because like you could very possibly, because we had one of those, and we would always take it down to the pool. Like we would we would pack our stuff in there, and like sometimes we would sit in there, and my mom would pull us down because we have a neighborhood park and pool. So yeah, we would load that thing up and bring it down to the pool and stuff. So I knew exactly what you were talking about because those things get hot as heck. You burn your butt. It does.
So that's why we always had a beach towel in there.
Yeah, we always like patted it so that
we were always jealous of the kids that they had the plastic ones that had the little door where you unhinge it, you walked in and you sat. We're like, we just climb in the thing. What are you talking about?
And it was like shallow. It wasn't like the deepest thing. Yeah.
We still have it above our garage. We have not looked at it in years. My mom's afraid it's all
ours got really rusty
and stuff, but who knows?
We had to get rid of it.
I want to look at
it.
Then
you don't want to have to get a tetanus shot and stuff from it. Rust.
The thing was that was made pretty well. That it wasn't like it might have rusted like from like the roof leaking or something with the garage possibly, but
it took a long time for it to rust.
Oh yeah, but that was a highlight with the road. That was like kind of like a whole thing bunched together with the road with the little vehicles we would do.
Yeah, we would use it for a lot of things like putting stuff in and pulling it elsewhere and all kind of stuff. But yeah, I do know what you're talking about with that thing. There was a nursery behind us. It was a landscaping type nursery. So there was there used to be like a really big willow tree like on the other side towards like one of the cul-de-sacs on the behind my house. And then there was like a line of like bushes that was and trees that was in between like the properties of like our properties and the nursery. So we had in the bushes and everything, we had forts. So we had one directly behind us, and then we had one over there in like one of the neighbors' yards. We were cut through there, and so that's when we would use walkie-talkies because if we were in different parts of the forts, and we kind of, I want to say we had code names for each other, but I don't remember what they are because it was so long ago. But it was like us and our friends, we would do this. So we would go in there, and we would kind of act like we were kind of like agents or whatever, and
that's awesome.
So we were like stationed in our forts and stuff, and then we would have to, because there was workers, we would have to like kind of scout off for each other and be like, don't go now, there's somebody over there, or you like have to skirt around. So we would have to like skirt around because technically we weren't supposed to be like playing on their like nursery because you could get hurt, but so that's what we would do as kids. So we would like all in a pack. If you've seen nowadays, if you've seen Stranger Things, like when they, when Eddie Munson was up front and like the rest, like Steve and Nancy and all of them were behind and they ran across, like that's how we were. We would run through the field like that, kind of like, you know, we were on like co-ops like things, and I almost said COVID, and I was like, that's not it, and like co-ops, yeah, like, and like, so we were like agents undercover and stuff, like doing stuff like that, and we would like walkie-talkie to each other and use our like code names. I wish I could remember the code names.
Type of walkie-talkies did you have? Did you have like the kids like Fisher Price different ones that we would have, or was it
we
like
had like actual walkie-talkies.
Well, you guys were fancy then, because the walkie-talkies we had.
We had like the like base level, and then my brother got like good ones for his birthday. So
lucky. So the next thing that we did in our backyard was we would do stuff with like police and prison stuff.
Oh, I think you told me a little bit of this.
Okay, so we would set up my dad's camper in the backyard, and it would be a pop-up Apache camper in the backyard, and it'd be up a long time during the summer where a lot of times we would like go in there, sometimes we would read books, sit in there, but sometimes we would use it as like if we'd play house because there was kitchen stuff inside. Well, that technically is another thing. We would pull out all the dishes and plates and pretend it was a house. We'd
Yeah.
get leaves and water and pretend we're cooking, do all that type of stuff.
Mud pie.
I don't think we'd ever mix the mud in there because we knew my dad would get pretty
Yeah.
ticked with all of his camping plates and stuff.
Yeah, you don't want
We
to do
did that. So that was actually a totally separate thing of playing house with the campers. That was
Yeah.
one thing. But we would pretend it was like a police station. That was like your headquarters. And your bikes were the police cars, where you
Yeah.
go on the driveway, pedal as fast as you can to fly into the grass and zoom around the backyard. Because you have a big backyard, you like go around. Then if you go over like the bumps or different things,
Like if you were
hear,
doing a police chase.
oh yeah, so it's like all over the place. Our front porch has like all of like the railings and stuff, so that would be the jail. And we would get like jump ropes, and I think we would like say we would like
tie each other to the thing?
like, oh, you're in prison for 20 minutes, and like we would like tie someone up on the front porch because you'd go up the stairs and it would be like you would pretend you're like looking through the bars, and then it's like I gotta go deal more police business. Then you go down, you ever like drive around the thing, and sometimes we would like make that wee like just with our mouth, just like doing that stuff going around. But yeah, we would be like, you know, like trying to ticket people, or say if somebody was like a Cozy Coupe car was going too fast down the driveway, we're like, you're going to jail.
You were speeding.
You're speeding.
You're driving without a license.
Yeah, and then it would be like, because I think one time we actually did it with a piece of paper, and I think
Like
we
made
put
a
it
license?
in. No, like we made a police station sign, and
Oh.
we put it in like
The window.
with like the window, like the zip down of the like the canvas, and you just stick it into the same police station, and then it would be like that was, or the swing set sometimes was the police station, and that was a house, and then oh my god. Yeah, we did that a lot.
That's funny.
So we're in the backyard pretending we're cops. You're going to jail.
I'm arresting you.
Oh man! In between pretending leaves and water and cook food.
I made you this delicious meal. It's a maple leaf.
Well, when we would get trees cut down and like the all the sawdust, we would pretend that was food. Where we would get the frisbees and we would say it's a restaurant and in the front yard, and we would go and fill up the whole frisbee and be like, here's your, this is what you ordered. And you go, num num num, and you like knock it all off. You're like, here, we need more. And then we would go back and that'd be the restaurant you have to order. We like do stuff with the sawdust, like all like the.
Because you just make things up. Like that's why I said at the start we used our imaginations. Kids these days don't.
Yeah.
Some do, but the majority don't because there's so much on.
Now it's like we need a
these.
blow-up screen to hook our Nintendo Switch
The iPad
on.
kids. The iPad kids.
Yeah, run around with them outside. Oh my god.
Yeah. Oh my god. My brother and I were talking about. Did you have like that pop-up gopher, like sprinkler?
No.
It was from Fisher
thought
Price.
No, we did not. I thought you were trying to go with there's the whack-a-mole.
No.
With the lights on the head. You
It's
have to smack it with the
I'll look
lights.
it up.
Okay, I thought
But-
they were talking about whack-a-mole.
It's a sprinkler, and that's like what we would play in. It was like it had a flower on its head. It was in a flower pot, and it would like pop up out of the flower, and it would go back down.
What?
And then
I
pop
don't
up
remember that. I remember they had the crazy flower where it would stick
Yeah, we
in
had the
ground,
daisy, the crazy
and the
daisy.
thing would flip all over the place. You had an elephant that would go around and shoot it out. It's like the spout or whatever you call it, trunk. We had our kiddie pool.
Oh my
actually
God.
had
It's
steps,
so-
and it went down, and there was a sprinkler.
It's called a
that
gotcha
shoot in.
gopher. The fact that they say vintage Fisher Price.
What? I never saw that.
So this is what it looks like.
What? I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, that's what we had. We had that, and then we did have the Crazy Daisy one.
We had the Crazy Daisy one.
Which I wonder if I can find that to show.
Then there was
what
like
that
the
looked
slip
like.
and slides became popular back then too.
Yeah.
We got to make sure there's no rock underneath. Sometimes it was better to actually put a tarp on the ground first, and then you put your
This
slip
was
and
the
slide.
Crazy Daisy.
Yeah.
This was the
That's the Crazy Daisy.
Daisy. And it would just like spray all over the place. But yeah, the gopher one, he would pop up. That's the one we had.
Yeah,
we
but
were talking about
our
that.
kiddie pool actually had a sprinkler on it. It was this hard plastic pool that we actually had to flip it upside down and hang it on the ceiling of our garage. It was this big blue thing.
Yeah.
And you'd go up, there was 2 steps, and there was a slide that went down it, and there was like a pink sprinkler that shot off the side. Well, my phone's being used. I can't look it up on my phone, but
okay, yeah.
But it was like the sprinkler. That's how you fill the pool up. But you can go down the slide with the sprinkler, and sometimes we go like head first in and go through it. But yeah, that's what we would just use, like the blow up ones. But after a while, we're like we because my cousins had that, so we had a copy what my cousins had, and then we bought that, and we used it for a long time.
We had the Fisher Price like jungle gym thing, and then we had the like Fisher Price house that had like it was like beige.
The white.
Yeah, it was like
I know there was a yellow one with the pink or blue door or green door.
Yeah, it had like I want to say it had a green roof and like a pink door or something. Yeah, we had that.
There's
and
the
sometimes
log
we
cabin
would use
versions of it too.
Yeah, we would use it as a house, or there was time we would use it as like a restaurant, or like so we would open the window and like serve something, or we would use it as like just random things like But yeah, we would say sometimes the like jungle gym was like a fortress. So like we would kind of like the amount of times my brother fell off of that because he would be like stupid standing on the like edge of it, and he would get they call when you get a bump on your head they call it a goose egg. So he would always have like a goose egg on his head because he would fall down all the time. I'm like, what are you doing?
Well, speaking of
because then too we would get it wet, like we would like spray the sprinkler and stuff. And, yeah, it was on part of the patio, so it was on the cement, and you would just like fall off of it. He wouldn't fall into the grass.
So like speaking of like you were saying like a restaurant or a drive-thru, what we would do is with my dad's van, like when they used to be just the crank down windows, we would pretend like the whole the van was like a McDonald's or a Dairy Queen. Okay. And what we would do is we would go around with the Cozy Coupe car around the car and say this was the drive-thru, and like you one window, you crank it down, that's where you order, you crank it back up, we went around, and then you go around, and I think we actually brought out our play food because we had a play the kitchen where you had like the oven with the sink, so we had all the play food. We would bring that outside, and we had we got it from a garage sale where it was like a Dairy Queen or McDonald's ice cream machine where in the top you actually would just stick, it was like a whole plastic like ice cream piece, but when you would push the lever to have it spin around, it would actually fall down into a plastic cone, and then you could like stick like a rubber topping, like a cherry, like it was like a cherry rubber top. You just give it. Yeah. So we would sometimes I think we would do that, but we did that a good couple times where the drive-through, it was just the car. You just drive around with the Cozy Coupe car, your bike. Yeah. Because it wasn't, you didn't have to start the car to use the motorized windows. It was just the crank window. Yeah.
And that's the thing, too, like, that's a good thing about, like, making these videos, because you, like, reminisce and remember things, like, because randomly, like, my brother and I will be like, do you remember this, like, what we would do as kids or whatever, or, like, do you remember using this thing or having this toy, like, that's one of the, like, good things, like, that you reminisce, like, and that's why, if you have a childhood where you, like, are imaginative, you playing outside, you're doing a lot of different things, you have those memories as an adult to go back to, and you're just like, oh my god, do you remember how like crazy we were as kids? Like, just things like that. Because we could
probably even do a whole video where we talk about like all the things that we did inside the house, what we would play, because there's even stuff
on
like
rainy
that.
days, because there was you were always outside unless it was like storming, especially in the summer and stuff. Like there was things like, here's a little tidbit of what we would do, like, if it was a stormy day in the summer, just to, have a preview if we do that video. We would make forts inside, where you take the cushions off the couch, and you build it up, and you get, like, blankets and, like, comforters and stuff, and stretch them, and put them over the tables, and, like, whatever, and do that. And have, like, a movie going on.
We only had 1 or 2 cushions would come off some of our furniture in the living room, so that didn't really go down very well. Yeah. We'd only be able to, because the couch cushions wouldn't come off, so like we tried to do it, and it always just be an epic fail.
Yeah. We had, like our couches that we have, like they all, like, the seat parts and the backing, like, would come off, so you could do that. And we would stretch the blankets across the couch, across the, like, coffee table and all that kind of stuff, and then kind of, like, lay in there and watch, like, a movie or whatever. Yeah. I figured that was, like, a good kind of, like, way to transition to ending it, because I know we could talk about like a lot of things.
Because that's the thing, like, we dealt with a lot of these toys and stuff that had there was no batteries,
the fact
technologies.
That those say vintage now makes me feel like I'm
Yeah,
ancient.
so what we'll do is we'll like look up some pictures of this stuff, so like insert it, because a lot of these clips we're gonna put on TikTok too.
Yeah.
So you could see it that way. Because there was just so many things that they don't make anymore. Like, there was even something when you're talking about the forts, this memory popped in my head that we had these pop-up cubes that the cubes all connected to each other.
Yeah.
You had one
they were
giant
multicolored.
one.
Yeah.
Ours were, I think, red and blue.
Yeah, I want to say there was some that had yellow on them, too.
The big giant one had a screen at the top, but then you went and connected all of the cubes on the side. Yeah, so you could have, that was also a house with all these rooms. But what was bad was when the wires started to wear through the material and pop out. It was like, oh, this is dangerous now. We have to throw this cube away, then that cube, and then it's to the point where then you had to like get rid of all of them.
Thinking about that, like those cubes, it made me think about, I don't know if you guys did this when you were younger, but like we would put up, like we would have smaller tents and stuff, or like friends would have bigger tents, like you have your big tent. We would pitch the tent in the backyard and stay outside one night. And do it like you were camping, but you were close to the house, so like you could still go in if you needed something or whatever.
There was
so
a
you
tent.
felt like you were doing something, because like both of us had bigger backyards, so we were able to do that as kids.
We had a tent. It was my mom's old tent, I believe, and we just set it up where we just had a blanket and like older stuffed animals that we just bring outside, and we would just play in the thing. Where that's what it would just be.
Like just play during the day and stuff, so that like you weren't always like if you got hot and you didn't want to be in the sun or something. But yeah, that just triggered that memory of that. So
screen houses. Now it's like you buy those pop-up the pop-up canopies, like for when people do garage sales or car shows and stuff. And you buy the screens on the side, but years ago it was popular to buy the screen houses that you leave up all summer, and you have a picnic table inside of there, and that's what we would do, go outside and color. We'd be on like a plastic picnic table just in the screen house where it was all shaded, where all the bugs
or you would draw like
in.
things that you were like you saw and stuff like that. So yeah, kind of, and it was like learning at the same time. So yeah,
that's probably enough for this video, because as you can see, one thing now we're saying to each other is trailing off with like all these other things.
Because we, growing up in the generation we were outside all the time, so we have so many things that we did outside to occupy yourself, because you didn't want to do the same thing all the time.
Right.
So, but yeah, and your imagination is boundless if you actually use it.
I don't even know, like, to be honest, like, how the kids' imaginations are now.
I don't know.
Like, I have no idea. I don't know if they're doing this like that type of stuff outside, extensive things.
I don't know, because like you could, there's a lot of things, like another thing that we would do is like you would play cops and robbers, like you kind of guys did, but you would find sticks that look like guns.
Now they just have all the Nerf guns where the kids are going nuts with those.
Or you would do like you would play like pirates or something and sword fight and with sticks. So that's just other extra things that we would do. But yeah. So if you grew up in the same like era as us, leave comments below what you did outside as kids. If you were one of the kids in later generations that still played outside, let us know what you did, or like what you did differently if you didn't play outside. Like, what did you do as a kid? So let's get those comments going. We're also on TikTok. Make sure you follow us on there, because we'll just have these type of snippets on TikTok. Plus, we put out videos on there that we don't put anywhere else. So yeah,
follow us on there. We're the same Chatverse Studio on there.
All the way across everything.
Yes.
It's easy to find us.
Yeah. So that is it for this video. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for joining us in the Chatverse.
Bye.